Picture this for a second. A single shadowy bomber, a ghost in the night, slips silently through the most intricate, most advanced radar nets the world has ever seen. It reaches its target, unleashes 30,000 pounds of precision-guided fury, then just vanishes. Poof. Gone. Before the enemy even realizes what hit them, before the first missile can even think about leaving its launch tube, it's already on its way home. For 3 decades, that impossible ghost has been the B-2 Spirit. It redefined stealth, it redefined strategic power, and it became the ultimate symbol of American aerial dominance. Now hold that thought. Imagine a younger, perhaps even more sinister sibling. This newcomer is smaller, smarter, and incredibly, almost ridiculously efficient. It costs about 1/3 as much to build, needs roughly half the maintenance hours to keep flying, and here's the kicker. It can fly with absolutely nobody inside the cockpit. That's right, an optional crew. That younger sibling, that next-generation phantom, is the B21 Raider. In the U.S. Air Force, they want at least 100 of these things. So the question that's been buzzing around the defense world is brutally simple, yet incredibly complex. Does this B21 Raider completely render the legendary B-2 Spirit obsolete, a relic of a bygone era? Or does the old Spirit still have a few tricks, a few surprises tucked away up its massive, stealthy sleeve? Let's dive in and find out. Section 1. Why the B-2 was the king. When the B-2 Spirit first rolled out of its hangar in 1988, it didn't just rewrite the rules of strategic bombing. It tore them up, threw them in a shredder, and then burned the ashes. This wasn't just another airplane. It was a paradigm shift. Its radical, unmistakable flying wing shape wasn't just for aesthetics. It was a masterclass in aerodynamic efficiency and, more critically, radar evasion. This design essentially erased the bomber from Soviet-era radars, allowing it to waltz past air defense belts that would have absolutely shredded any other conventional bomber of its time. It was, quite literally, invisible to the enemy. A silent harbinger of destruction that left no trace until its payload hit the target. The B-2's capabilities weren't just about stealth. They were about sheer devastating power delivered with surgical precision. One single B-2 Spirit can carry an astonishing 16 B-83 nuclear bombs, each capable of unimaginable destruction. Or if the mission calls for conventional force, it can haul 8,500-pound Joint Direct Attack Munitions, or JDAMs. That's enough firepower to systematically dismantle an entire small country's military infrastructure. Its command and control centers, its airfields, its industrial base, all in a single terrifying pass. Think about the strategic implications of that. One aircraft, one mission, capable of achieving objectives that would traditionally require dozens of conventional bombers. And range? Oh, the range was legendary. 6,000 miles without needing a single drop of fuel from an aerial tanker. To put that in perspective, imagine flying from New York City to Moscow and back again, assuming you had some friendly tankers along the way to top you off. This global reach meant the B-2 could strike virtually any target on Earth from its home base in Missouri, projecting American power without needing forward operating bases that could be vulnerable. It was, and still is, a testament to engineering brilliance. Only 21 of these magnificent, terrifying machines were ever built, a testament to their astronomical cost and complexity. Yet despite their limited numbers, every major conflict since the Kosovo War in the late 1990s has seen the Spirit open the first night of strikes. It became the spearhead, the unblinking eye, the stealthy hammer that shattered enemy air defenses and paved the way for follow-on forces. Its presence alone, the knowledge that it could be anywhere, doing anything, created a profound psychological shock. It was a tangible demonstration that stealth, combined with immense payload and global reach, wasn't just a technological marvel. It was a strategic weapon of unparalleled psychological warfare. Pilots, if you can believe it, often joke that the jet is so eerily quiet inside the cockpit that you can literally hear your own heartbeat. A surreal experience while the world below remains completely oblivious to the silent giant soaring effortlessly above them. That's the kind of king the B-2 was, a true legend of the skies. Section 2. The cracks in the armor, but even kings, even legends, aren't immune to the relentless march of time. And time, as we all know, remains undefeated. The B-2 Spirit, for all its groundbreaking technology, was designed and built using materials and methods from the 1980s and early 90s. Its first-generation radar-absorbent material, or RAM, was nothing short of revolutionary back then. It was the secret sauce that made the B-2 virtually invisible. But that secret sauce came with a hefty price tag, not just in dollars but in painstaking, incredibly delicate maintenance. Imagine this. These multi-billion-dollar aircraft can't just sit out on the tarmac like any other jet. Oh no. They require specialized climate-controlled hangars, maintained at precise temperature and humidity levels, just to keep their stealth coatings intact. It's like trying to preserve a priceless ancient artifact. And the maintenance itself? It's not just a quick wash and a tune-up. We're talking about white-glove maintenance, an almost artisanal process where technicians, often working in cleanroom-like conditions, meticulously inspect, repair, and reapply these delicate stealth materials. It's an incredibly labor-intensive process, demanding roughly 50 hours of groundwork for every single hour the B-2 spends in the air. 50 hours. Think about that ratio. It's an operational beast, a logistical challenge that limits its availability and drives up its true cost. And speaking of cost, each B-2 Spirit, when you factor in inflation and all the associated development and sustainment expenses, costs north of $2 billion in today's money. $2 billion. Losing even one of these aircraft isn't just a financial setback. It's a national headline, a strategic blow, and a massive hit to the Air Force's already tiny fleet of these irreplaceable assets. The sheer scarcity of the B-2 makes every single one a precious, fragile commodity. Meanwhile, while the B-2 has been doing its thing, our adversaries haven't been sitting idly by. Russian and Chinese air defenses, driven by significant investment and technological leaps, have evolved dramatically. They now operate sophisticated low-frequency radars that, while not necessarily seeing the B-2 clearly, can sometimes detect its presence and cue faster, more advanced missiles onto its general location. It's not a perfect solution for them, but it's a crack in the armor, a chink in the invisibility cloak that wasn't there 30 years ago. The B-2, with its massive wingspan, presents a larger target to these specific radar bands than smaller, more modern stealth aircraft. And then there's the internal architecture. The jet's processors, its very brain, still run on code and hardware that largely dates back to the 1980s. Trying to upgrade these systems, to integrate modern sensors and communication suites, is like trying to stream Netflix in 8K on a VHS player. It's just not built for it. The fundamental architecture isn't designed for rapid modular upgrades. This means integrating new weapons, new countermeasures, or advanced networking capabilities is a Herculean task, often requiring bespoke, expensive, and time-consuming solutions. So what's the bottom line here? The B-2 Spirit is still an incredibly potent, still deadly weapon system. No one is denying that, but it is undeniably expensive, incredibly scarce, and, perhaps most critically, increasingly detectable by the cutting-edge air defense systems of our most sophisticated adversaries. It's not obsolete yet, not entirely, but the cracks are showing and the world has moved on. Section 3. Enter the Raider. So, what's the answer to these growing challenges? Enter Northrop Grumman's audacious solution, the B-21 Raider. On the surface, it looks like a scaled-down B-2, a sleeker, perhaps even more elegant evolution of that iconic flying wing. But beneath that familiar yet refined exterior beats a digital heart that's generations ahead, a brain closer in its sophistication and adaptability to an F-35 than to its B-2 predecessor. This isn't just an incremental upgrade, it's a revolutionary leap forward, built from the ground up for the contested skies of the 21st century. One of the most astonishing aspects of the Raider program is its focus on affordability and quantity. The Air Force, scarred by the astronomical costs and limited production runs of previous stealth programs, was absolutely adamant about keeping the price tag manageable. The target? Roughly $550 million per copy. Now, that's still a staggering amount for a single aircraft, of course. But consider this. That means you could potentially buy 3 B-21 Raiders for the cost of just 1 B-2 Spirit in today's dollars. That's a fundamental shift in strategy, from a handful of ultra-expensive, ultra-capable platforms to a larger, more sustainable fleet. How did they achieve this unprecedented cost control and accelerated development? Digital engineering, for starters. Instead of building countless physical prototypes and conducting endless, costly real-world tests, Northrop Grumman leveraged advanced digital modeling and simulation. They built the entire aircraft virtually, testing every component, every system, every flight characteristic in a digital environment before cutting a single piece of metal. This approach trimmed years off the development timeline and saved billions in R&D costs. It's a testament to how modern design and manufacturing processes can fundamentally change the game. And the software. It's a marvel of modern architecture. The B21 boasts an open architecture software system, which in layman's terms means it's designed to be easily upgradable and adaptable. Think of your smartphone. When a new app comes out or a new feature, you just download it and your phone instantly gains new capabilities. The B21 is designed with a similar philosophy. New sensors, new weapons, new communication suites. They can all plug in like apps on a phone, seamlessly integrating into the aircraft's core systems. This ensures the Raider can evolve and adapt to new threats and technologies throughout its decades-long service life, avoiding the technological obsolescence that plagued the B-2. Physically, the Raider is a more compact design. Its wingspan shrinks from the B-2's massive 172 feet down to roughly 135 feet. This isn't just about making it look sleeker. It has profound operational advantages. A smaller wingspan means a smaller radar cross-section, making it even harder to detect. It also means it requires less hangar space, which might sound trivial, but it has a huge impact on base infrastructure, maintenance costs, and deployability. Smaller footprint, cheaper to house, easier to hide. Underneath its skin, the B-21 is powered by engines derived from the F-35's powerhouse engines. This is a brilliant logistical move. It means that the complex supply chains, the maintenance procedures, the spare parts, and the training for these engines already largely exist within the Air Force and the broader defense ecosystem. You're not inventing a whole new engine ecosystem, which saves enormous amounts of time and money in sustainment. It's smart, efficient planning. But perhaps the most radical, most game-changing aspect of the B-21 is its inherent design for optional crewing. From day one, the airframe is built to fly with or without pilots on board. This isn't an afterthought. It's baked into its very DNA. This capability fundamentally flips the script on risk tolerance for deep strike missions into highly contested airspace. Imagine sending a bomber into the most dangerous, most heavily defended areas, knowing that if it's shot down, no human lives are lost. That changes everything. The Raider isn't just a new bomber. It's a new way of thinking about strategic air power, a testament to forward-thinking engineering and an unwavering focus on the future. Section 4. Stealth. Round 2, all right. Let's get down to the nitty-gritty of stealth, because it's so much more than just a cool-looking shape. True stealth, the kind that makes a multi-ton aircraft vanish from enemy screens, is a complex symphony of design, materials, manufacturing precision, emission control, and ongoing sustainment. The B-2 Spirit, as we discussed, was a master of first-generation stealth. Its radar-absorbent coatings were revolutionary, effectively absorbing incoming radar waves instead of reflecting them back. But those coatings, for all their genius, demanded incredibly delicate handling and constant, meticulous touch-ups. They were fragile, temperamental, and required that white glove treatment we talked about. Rain, humidity, even direct sunlight could degrade them, necessitating constant repairs and reapplication. The B-21 Raider, on the other hand, ushers in Stealth Round 2, a generational leap forward, what experts are calling fifth-generation plus stealth technology. This isn't just an improvement, it's a fundamental rethinking. The Raider utilizes next-generation broadband materials that aren't just applied to the surface. They're actually baked directly into the composite skin of the aircraft during manufacturing. This isn't a delicate coating. It's an integral part of the airframe itself. What does this mean in practical terms? It means the B-21 can shrug off environmental punishment, rain, intense sunlight, routine ground crews. None of these will degrade its stealth performance. It's robust, resilient, and far easier to maintain, which translates directly into higher operational readiness and lower sustainment costs. The term broadband is critical here. While the B-2 was incredibly stealthy against specific radar frequencies prevalent in the 80s and 90s, modern air defense systems employ a much wider spectrum of radar bands, including those tricky low-frequency radars that could sometimes cue onto the B-2. The B-21's broadband stealth is designed to cut its radar signature across a far wider range of these frequencies and sensor types. It's like having a universal camouflage that works against many different kinds of eyes, not just one. This dramatically improves its survivability against the most advanced integrated air defense systems our adversaries can field today, and, crucially, those they're developing for tomorrow. The numbers, if you can believe the projections from computer models, are staggering. These models suggest a 10 to 100-fold reduction in detection range against modern systems, depending on the specific threat band. Let's translate that into something more tangible. If a B-2 flying a deep strike mission might be detectable and trackable by enemy radar at, say, 50 miles out, a B-21 might not even appear on their screens until it's 5 miles away. 5 miles! That's often too late for an interceptor aircraft to scramble. Too late for surface-to-air missiles to lock on and engage effectively. It's the difference between having a fighting chance and being completely blindsided. Now, combine this revolutionary stealth material and shaping with the B-21's smaller size and its incredibly sophisticated emissions control. Every electronic emission from the aircraft, radar, communications, even engine heat, is meticulously managed and suppressed to minimize its signature. This holistic approach means the Raider becomes a true ghost of the 2030s battlespace. It's not just hard to see, it's hard to hear, hard to track, and hard to even know it's there until it's already delivered its payload and is well on its way home. This is stealth evolved. Section 5. Payload versus persistence. Okay, let's talk about a point where the B-2 spirit still seems to hold the crown. Raw payload capacity. Yes, it's true. The B-2 can haul an absolutely enormous 40,000 pounds of ordnance. The B-21, on the other hand, is quoted with an estimated payload capacity somewhere between 20 to 30,000 pounds. So, on paper, it sounds like a downgrade, right? A smaller bomber carrying fewer bombs. But this is where the math gets interesting. And it flips completely when you start counting not just bombs, but mission duration, operational tempo, and strategic effect. The fundamental shift in thinking with the B-21 is from maximum payload per sortie to maximum effect per campaign, because the Raider is designed to be significantly cheaper to fly and infinitely easier to maintain than its predecessor. Military planners can launch more of them more often. Think about it. Instead of relying on one B-2 to undertake a marathon, single-night sprint deep into enemy territory, delivering a massive blow to one area, you could deploy 4 B-21s. Those 4 Raiders could hit 4 separate, critical targets on 4 consecutive nights. This isn't just about distributing risk. It's about sustained pressure, about overwhelming the enemy's defenses over time and achieving broader strategic objectives. It's about replacing that one B-2 on its epic, exhausting mission with a squadron of Raiders, each contributing to a continuous, relentless campaign. This concept of force multiplication through quantity and operational availability is a game-changer. Furthermore, the nature of modern warfare has evolved. We're increasingly relying on incredibly sophisticated standoff weapons. Take the JASSM XR, for instance, the Joint Air-to-Surface Standoff Missile Extended Range. This weapon can strike targets 1,000 miles away from the aircraft that launched it. What does this mean for the bomber itself? It means the B-21 doesn't necessarily need to overfly the most lethal, most heavily defended zones. It can launch its precision munitions from a safer distance, reducing the risk to the aircraft and its crew, if it's manned. This significantly enhances survivability and mission effectiveness. So, while the B-21 might carry slightly fewer bombs per individual jet on any given mission, the net result for a sustained campaign is a dramatically increased number of bombs delivered per campaign, and crucially, delivered with a much higher probability of survivability. It's a strategic trade-off. Less individual payload in exchange for greater operational flexibility, higher mission success rates, and a more sustainable, resilient force. The B-21 embodies a shift from brute force to precision, persistence, and distributed lethality. Section 6. The networked brain. Now, let's talk about something truly revolutionary, something that makes the B-21 not just a bomber, but a central node in a vast interconnected fighting force, its networked brain. Picture this. A B-21 Raider cruising effortlessly over the vast expanse of the Pacific Ocean. It's not just a standalone aircraft. Its advanced computers are simultaneously fusing data streams from a myriad of sources. We're talking about real-time intelligence from overhead satellites, from swarms of stealthy drones operating ahead of it, and from nearby fifth-generation fighter jets. All this disparate data is instantly collected, processed, and analyzed, creating an unparalleled, crystal-clear picture of the battlespace. And then, here's the kicker. It can beam a fire control quality track, essentially a highly precise targeting solution, directly to a Navy destroyer operating 300 miles away. This isn't some far-fetched science fiction scenario. It is a core requirement, a foundational capability of the B-21 Raider. This is the essence of what's called Joint All-Domain Command and Control, or JADC2, and the B-21 is designed to be a central player in it. Its cyber-resilient architecture means it's built from the ground up, to operate and thrive even within the most hostile, most contested electronic warfare and cyber attack environments. If adversaries try to jam GPS signals, the B-21 has redundant, resilient navigation systems. If they try to cut off communications, the bomber's network is designed to be adaptive. It's like a smartphone constantly hopping between cell towers to maintain a signal, ensuring that critical data always gets through. If one node in the network goes down, the bomber automatically reroutes data through another, ensuring mission continuity. Contrast that with the B-2. For all its stealth prowess, the B-2 largely fights alone. Its missions are typically pre-planned with meticulous detail, and while it does have satellite communication capabilities, it relies heavily on those pre-programmed instructions and occasional, often limited satellite chats for updates. It's a magnificent solo artist in an era that increasingly demands a symphony orchestra. It's not designed to be a real-time data fusion and distribution hub. In an age where decision loops are measured in seconds, where the speed of information can literally mean the difference between victory and defeat, the side that can share data fastest, most securely, and most comprehensively wins. The B-21 isn't just a platform for dropping bombs. It's a flying sensor, a data aggregator, a communication relay, and a command node. It can act as a battle manager for unmanned wingmen drones, directing them to scout, jam, or even attack targets. This ability to integrate seamlessly, to share and receive intelligence in real time, to operate as a truly networked asset, is what truly sets the Raider apart. It represents a fundamental shift in how air power will be projected and coordinated in future conflicts. Section 7. Dollars and cents. Let's be brutally honest. Cost drives strategy just as much, if not more, than pure technological innovation. You can have the most advanced weapon system in the world, but if you can't afford to build enough of them, or if you can't afford to fly them, it's not going to win wars. And this is where the B-21 Raider truly shines, addressing one of the most significant Achilles heels of its predecessor. The B-2 Spirit, the B-2 fleet, magnificent as it is, averages a dismal 2 sorties per month per jet. Think about that. 2 flights a month. That's an incredibly low operational tempo for such a critical asset. Why so low? Because its sustainment is, to put it mildly, a logistical opera. We've already touched on the white-glove maintenance and climate-controlled hangars required for its delicate stealth coatings. But it's more than just that. The specialized tools, the highly trained technicians, the unique spare parts that often have to be custom fabricated, all of it contributes to an incredibly complex, time-consuming, and astronomically expensive maintenance ecosystem. It's a constant uphill battle to keep those few B-2s in the air. A battle that consumes vast resources and limits their availability. The B-21 program, learning from these hard-won lessons, shoots for a dramatically higher operational tempo, 4 to 6 sorties per month per airframe. That's on par with legacy fighters, which are far less complex. How do they achieve this? Through that inherent design for maintainability, those baked-in broadband stealth materials that are resilient to the elements, the open architecture systems that simplify upgrades, and the commonality of parts like the engines. This focus on design for sustainment is revolutionary for a stealth bomber. Now let's do a little math. The Air Force plans to acquire at least 100 Raiders. Compare that to the 21 Spirits we currently have. If you multiply the planned fleet of 100 Raiders by their target operational tempo of, say, 5 sorties per month, you get 500 combat sorties per month. Compare that to the current B-2 fleet's 21 jets flying 2 sorties each, which is a paltry 42 sorties per month. That means the B-21 fleet, when fully operational, could deliver roughly 20 times more combat sorties per year than the current B-2 fleet. 20 times! That's not just an incremental improvement. It's a strategic tsunami. It transforms the capability of the entire bomber force, moving from a handful of exquisite, scarce assets to a robust, persistent, and overwhelming presence. And the lower flight hour cost of the B-21 isn't just about saving money in the budget. It frees up crucial financial space. That liberated budget can then be reinvested into other cutting-edge capabilities. We're talking about accelerating the development and procurement of game-changing hypersonic weapons that can strike anywhere on Earth in minutes, or investing in advanced electronic attack pods that can blind enemy defenses, or, perhaps most intriguing, funding loyal wingman drones, autonomous unmanned aircraft that can fly alongside the B-21, providing additional sensors, weapons, or even acting as decoys. This synergy creates a truly next-generation air combat ecosystem. Quantity, as a certain historical figure, Stalin actually, famously reminded us, has a quality all its own. The B-21's emphasis on a larger, more affordable, and more sustainable fleet means that the sheer numbers themselves become a strategic advantage, allowing the U.S. to project power with unprecedented scale and persistence. It's a testament to smart acquisition and a forward-looking strategy. Section 8. The optional crew. This right here might be the ace card. This is where the B-21 Raider truly steps into a future that the B-2 Spirit, by its very design, can never reach. We're talking about autonomy, the ability to operate with an optional crew, or more accurately, without one at all. Now, the Air Force is understandably cautious here. They refuse to officially confirm full unmanned operations on day one of the B-21's deployment. But let's be clear, the test articles, the prototypes are wired for it. The fundamental design, the robust data links, the advanced AI and flight control systems, they're all built with this capability in mind. It's not a question of if, but when, and how often we see the B-21 flying into battle without a human pilot on board. Imagine a mission where the risk to human life is simply unacceptable. Think about a highly sensitive, perhaps nuclear-armed reconnaissance sweep over an adversary's capital, say, Beijing, on night 2 of a major Pacific war. The stakes are impossibly high, the airspace lethally contested. In such a scenario, the traditional calculus of sending 2 incredibly valuable human beings into that maelstrom becomes almost untenable. But with an unmanned B-21, the equation changes entirely. You can remove the crew, eliminate the need for life support systems, and fundamentally alter the performance envelope. You can crank up the G-tolerance, pushing the airframe to its absolute limits without worrying about pilot blackouts. You can stretch the flight duration to 30 hours or more, far beyond what any human crew could reasonably endure without extensive relief. And critically, you can accept a higher attrition rate, because while the loss of an aircraft is always a serious matter, the loss of an unmanned aircraft, while still costly, doesn't carry the profound moral, ethical, and societal weight of losing human lives. There are no families waiting at Whiteman Air Force Base for a crew that isn't coming home. That, my friends, is flipping the script on risk tolerance in the most profound way imaginable. Of course, there will still be missions where human judgment is absolutely paramount. For conventional strikes where complex, dynamic decisions need to be made in real time, where adapting to unforeseen circumstances requires the nuanced intuition of a human mind, you'll keep the pilots in the seat. The B-21 is designed to be flexible, to operate in multiple modes. It's about having options. The B-2, by contrast, can never achieve this level of optional crewing without a complete, multi-trillion-dollar remake. Its entire design philosophy, its controls, its systems, are predicated on having a human crew on board. It's a fundamental limitation. The B-21, however, can flip between manned and unmanned modes like a light switch. This optional crewing capability isn't just a technological marvel. It's a strategic imperative that opens up entirely new possibilities for projecting power and managing risk in the most dangerous environments imaginable. It's truly the future of air power today. Section 9, the high-low reality. So after all this talk about next-gen stealth, networked brains, and optional crews, will the B-21 Raider simply walk in and retire the venerable B-2 Spirit overnight? History, my friends, gives us a resounding no. Military history is replete with examples of older, seemingly obsolete platforms continuing to serve alongside their cutting-edge successors, each filling a specific, valuable niche. Look at the B-52 Stratofortress. Conceived in 1948, it's still flying today, almost a century later, and will likely continue to do so for decades to come. Why? Because it's cheap to operate, relatively speaking. It's incredibly roomy. and it's perfectly good enough for long-range standoff work, launching cruise missiles from hundreds of miles away. Expect a very similar duet, a strategic partnership between the B-21 Raider and the B-2 Spirit. This isn't an either-or situation. It's a complementary one. In future high-end conflicts, particularly against peer adversaries with sophisticated air defenses, the B-21s will undoubtedly lead the charge. They will be the ones penetrating the toughest, most heavily defended airspace on Night 1, using their unparalleled stealth and networking capabilities to cripple enemy radars, take out command and control bunkers, and punch holes in integrated air defense systems. They'll be the ones creating the initial chaos, the first wave of shock and awe that paralyzes the enemy. Once those initial critical targets are neutralized, once the most lethal layers of enemy air defense have been suppressed or destroyed, that's when the B-2s will come into their own. They'll hand off the follow-on strikes to the Spirits, which with their larger payload capacity, can then carry heavier loads of conventional munitions, or even launch more standoff weapons from slightly less contested airspace. The Elder bomber will morph into a highly effective standoff bus, launching a barrage of hypersonics or long-range cruise missiles from 500 miles away, while the Raiders continue to mop up inside the fortress, exploiting the weaknesses they've created. Think of it less like an iPhone, replacing a rotary phone, a complete and utter obsolescence, and more like the F-22, Raptor and the F-15EX Eagle operating in concert. The F-22, with its extreme stealth and agility, goes in first, clears the air, and dominates the most dangerous airspace. Then the F-15EX, with its massive payload and advanced avionics, comes in to deliver heavy firepower and provide sustained air superiority in a less contested environment. Each aircraft has its role, its strengths, and its ideal mission profile. The B-21 will be the cutting-edge penetrator. The B-2 will provide the robust, heavy-hitting follow-on punch. Together they form a formidable, multi-layered strategic bombing capability that few, if any, adversaries can hope to counter. Section 10. The verdict. So, after meticulously dissecting every facet, every innovation, every strategic implication, does the B-21 Raider completely outclass the B-2 Spirit? On sheer stealth technology, on avionics, on networking capabilities, on cost-effectiveness, and crucially, on projected fleet numbers, the answer is an emphatic, resounding yes. The Raider represents a generational leap, a fundamental rethinking of strategic air power for the 21st century. It's smaller, smarter, more resilient, and designed for a future that the B-2 simply wasn't built for. On raw payload capacity, the B-2 still holds a slight edge. It can haul more steel, more bombs in a single sortie. But even here, the calculus shifts dramatically when you consider payload per dollar and, more importantly, payload per risk. When you factor in the B-21's lower acquisition cost, its dramatically reduced sustainment burden, its higher operational tempo, and its ability to launch weapons from safer standoff distances, that payload advantage of the B-2 quickly tilts hard, very hard toward the newcomer. The Raider delivers more firepower more persistently, with a higher probability of success, for less money and less risk. However, and this is a crucial distinction, obsolescence is ultimately a policy choice, not an inevitable technological law. While the B-2 is undeniably outclassed in raw technology, it is not, by any stretch of the imagination, obsolete. Far from it. With upgraded communication suites, the integration of new, longer-range standoff weapons, and a continued, albeit smaller, strategic niche, the Spirit will soldier on. It will likely remain a relevant and feared asset well into the 2040s, a testament to its enduring design and the ingenuity of its maintainers. The future of strategic penetration clearly belongs to the B-21 Raider. It will lead the charge, punching holes in the most advanced air defenses and shaping the battle space for decades to come. But the B-2 Spirit will ride shotgun, evolving into a powerful, heavy-hitting support platform. Together in this high-low mix, this complementary duet, they will ensure that American air power remains firmly in the catbird seat for another generation. Wherever America needs to reach out and touch someone, with overwhelming force and unparalleled stealth, a ghostly wing, or perhaps a pair of them, will always be overhead, ensuring dominance in the skies. CTAIF, this deep dive into the clash of these stealth titans absolutely blew your mind and got your tactical gears turning. Then you know the drill. Smash that like button, subscribe for more no-nonsense military tech breakdowns, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single thing. Now for the real debate. If you had the choice, would you rather pilot the last legendary B-2 on a record-breaking 30-hour mission, knowing the immense history you're carrying? Or would you prefer to ride shotgun, perhaps even virtually, in an unmanned B-21 as it ghosts past the most formidable defenses, rewriting the rules of warfare? Drop a comment below. Let's keep this fascinating conversation going. Conclusion: the B-21 Raider is so much more than just another bomber. It's a living, breathing, flying software platform, meticulously engineered for the complex, contested skies of our modern world and, critically, for the tight budgets that define contemporary defense spending. It shrinks radar signatures to almost nothing, it expands operational options dramatically, and it multiplies force projection at a price point the Pentagon can, finally, swallow. Yet let's be clear, the B-2 Spirit remains a heavyweight champion, a proven, feared, and incredibly capable aircraft, still able to haul more steel farther than almost any peer. So is it outclassed? In raw, cutting-edge technology, yes, absolutely. Is it obsolete? Not by a long shot. The future undeniably belongs to the Raider, a new era of stealth and networked warfare. But the Spirit will ride alongside it, a powerful, experienced wingman, ensuring that wherever America needs to project power, wherever it needs to reach out and touch someone, a ghostly wing will always be overhead.